back to the channel, friends. I have a special treat for you. Normally, we just do reviews for the Orlando, Disney, and the cruises, but I'm lucky enough to have the Dohertys in the back seat, who just came from
Hawaii. Hawaii.
Ed, why don't you introduce everybody?
Yeah. Ed Dockery, my wife Kelly, my daughter Kira.
And so, yep. So they just flew in from what, a 50-hour flight or something from the.
Something like that.
Yeah, we started a flight at around 8 in the evening in Hawaii last evening, and then had a transfer in Seattle, and then just arrived at 4 o'clock Orlando time. So
all right.
It's a bit of a flight.
Yeah. And so now, is this the first time you guys going to Hawaii?
No, this was like my sixth time.
Sixth time.
Kira's been there 5 times probably. Kelly's been there even more, maybe 7.
Yeah.
When we've been there before, I was really little.
Yeah.
And we wanted to come back so I could really
Right.
Nice. And so, Kira, when you're talking, speak up though, so that everybody can hear you. The microphone's up here. That's okay.
Sometimes I have problems with controlling how loud my voice is.
Okay.
Nice. And so, what island were you guys on?
Kauai.
Kauai. And so, what, do you fly into Hawaii and then take a puddle jumper to Kauai?
No, actually, we flew into LA.
LA, yeah.
And then we went right into Kauai.
Okay. And what resort did you guys stay at?
We rented condos. So we rented a condo in the southern part of the island for half the trip. Then we moved up to the northern part of the island for the rest of the trip.
Nice. And so, is this the first time for you being at this island? No.
This is our go-to.
That was like my 5th time. I think she's been there even more.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're quite familiar with it.
And so, what makes this island special?
They call it the Garden Isle because it's the only isle with navigable rivers.
Okay.
And so it's a lot more lush and it's a lot more irrigated, and so it feels like so much of it is just untouched by human hands. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's breathtaking. I mean, they've filmed so many movies there. You're talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, no kidding.
Jurassic Park. So a lot of the scenery you see in these movies where it's very exotic, where especially the Nepali coast, you'll see these huge green peaks of mountain cliffs that are just, they're amazing. They don't even seem real. They're surreal. So yeah, that draws us back there. I mean, all the beaches are beautiful.
Now, are the beaches white sand or black sand?
White sand.
White sand.
Yeah, I mean, we don't go there specifically for the beaches. We prefer a more active vacation.
Right.
Even the beaches there, you can just snorkel from the shore. There's tons of fish. But the more impressive thing is the backdrops. You'll get giant green mountains in like Hanalei Bay. That might be one of the most picturesque beaches in the world.
Wow.
It is. You're standing on that beach, you can't believe it's real.
It's almost, yeah, it's so exotic. It's something out of another world.
So surreal.
Yes.
Yeah,
We loved it.
and it has a bunch of things that I can like build with.
And it's still pretty wild, so you get a lot of driftwood coming in.
And so it's not really over commercialized.
No, we were there on a Sunday. We were there yesterday as well, but we were there on Sunday when a lot of the locals go. And it got to about 4 o'clock and there was only like 20, 30 people on the beach maybe. It wasn't very crowded at all. So it still has that wild feel. It's not as commercial. So we enjoy that as well.
Wow. Well, I mean, it sounds like it. You guys have been there for, many. You keep going back. Any thoughts of moving back there or moving there?
Every time we're there, we think that we never want to leave. Our concession actually was moving to Florida, so we were living in New Jersey, going to Hawaii for all those years, and just hoping that we could move there. And now we're in Florida, and we love it. So it's kind of a good bridge to getting there, I guess, is living here.
Now, for people that are considering going to Hawaii, why? I mean, you mentioned that it's unspoiled. I guess that's the beauty of it. And is that really the reason why you would go to this island as opposed to one of the other commercial islands?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, do they have resorts there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. We just prefer to stay at condos there. You usually get a better view by renting a condo. So there's resorts. So we stayed in the first part of the trip in Poipu, which is in the southern part of the island.
Okay.
The resorts, the hotels, you can't really get right on top of the ocean.
Okay.
So the first place we stayed at was right on top of the ocean. So we had the waves crashing at night right on the rocks, right in front of the unit we had rented. You can't really get that with any of the hotels and resorts. And we did a similar thing on the North Shore. There's not a lot of resorts up there.
Okay.
There's some. It's mostly condos, but then again, we replicated that. But the North Shore, you're up on a cliff, so you still have the breaking waves. They're just not right on top of you. But
the condos are nice, and they replicate like the kind of resort feel.
Okay.
The place in the South Shore, we had the best pool, access to the best pool we've ever had.
Okay.
It was built right into the rocks, and it was kind of sharing space with the ocean, and it was incredible.
yeah, you're just seeing sea turtles nonstop right in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd sit there all day and you'd see hundreds of them.
Now, is this the time of year? What is this like? One of the best times of years to go, or if you were going to Hawaii,
I think it's less rainy right now, but we've gone many different months and still enjoyed our trip. You just have to be willing to accept some rain.
Okay.
Sometimes we got very lucky, especially on the North Shore. It's very green, but obviously that comes with rain. We got very lucky, but now this time of year is better for less rain.
And the ocean is calmer. I think like in the winter time, the ocean is, especially in the North Shore, is just so rough you can't even swim. But then I think a little bit after winter, they've got whale season and things like that. So there's just never a bad time to go.
And
It's always a good
the
time.
more rain, the more lush it will be.
That's right, Kira. The more rain, the more lush it will be.
Yep.
Unless they get overboard by the rain.
Right. Unless there's too much. Now, that's the Pacific though, so the water is cold.
No, it's really warm and beautiful.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm used to California. All right.
Yeah. No, where we were, it was really warm.
Nice. And so you guys, you rent from what? You go to what, Verbo or?
We did Verbo, yeah.
Yeah.
Verbo. Okay. Do you find that that's a better platform than Airbnb?
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like Verbo better. I don't know why specifically.
Yeah,
It just
I know. It's just
it
always
worked for us,
convenient.
and we just continue to use it. But we've used Airbnb as well, but
Okay.
not for Kauai. Usually Verbo.
And so you just, you fly in and you rent a car for the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a car. If you're going to Kauai, definitely a car.
Yeah.
You can't really get around without one, and I would suggest not even trying to entertain that.
Yeah.
You see some people on the travel site saying, "Can I get away with not having a car?" It's
No, you can't.
too remote to not have a car.
Okay.
Although we did use Uber once on this trip. We took a hike and went too far, and
Okay.
we couldn't finish the hike. Basically, it was a very difficult hike, and we got an Uber to come to a horse stable and pick us up. So
Nice.
that worked out well.
Yeah. Now, speaking of things to do, so you guys were gone for what? 8 days?
We were there 10 nights.
10 nights.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, give us an idea of some of the things that you guys do during the daytime.
We did a ton of activities. I think one of the first things that we did was we went on this tubing adventure.
Tubing.
Where you go through these old tunnels, irrigation tunnels.
Yeah, there were
and
irrigation tunnels for sugarcane that they used to grow on the island. Now they've reclaimed those tunnels to make it basically an attraction. So you go down these tunnels with miners' helmets on, with lights, in a tube.
And it's freezing cold, but it's so much fun.
Yeah,
We
it's
love
really
that.
cool.
And we did
That's-
other things where we went kayaking, and then we went on a hike where they told us some secrets of the forest, right, Kira? Where we saw shies and
Oh
things.
yeah, like they have a name in Hawaiian. I forgot what it was. So we just called it.
Yeah, it's a plant, and
Their name translates to
yeah, the name translates into shy. So when you touch it, it kind of curls up around itself. And then Ed went on this, I guess, it kind of just opened up into your own personal swimming hole with your own kind of waterfall. And
Yeah, they filmed Pirates of the Caribbean in that
Okay.
swimming hole. I did a jump off of
It
a
was
rope
amazing.
swing there, which was pretty cool.
And it's on this private property, so only if you were like people that were going on the hike
Okay. Could you
have
access it?
to it. And it was incredible. And we also just did a lot of kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding and
Hiking.
hiking.
And I guess the the best thing we did was we took a boat ride on the Pali Coast. So that's those mountains I mentioned that
Right.
are just so impressive. So we took a boat ride along the coast there. We went into some of the sea caves as well, which some movies were filmed in as well. And snorkeled. Yeah, it was,
How was the snorkeling?
it was difficult for a youngster, basically.
Okay.
You know, you're out in the ocean.
Right.
So it was good, but it was the first time in the ocean for her doing that. So we
Right.
only did it for around 15 minutes. It's just a little difficult when
Yeah.
you have waves coming in crashing on top.
Yeah.
But we went snorkeling other places because there's a lot of swimming
Protected
places that
beaches.
are protected
Okay.
by
Rocks
the
around the
rocks.
Coral Reef, pretty
And it
far
makes
out.
your own like pool.
Okay.
Your own protected pool within the ocean, and then you can kind of snorkel there and see rocks.
So now, was this like a big tour boat, you know, with what, you know,
Yeah.
20, 30 people, or was it just,
I mean,
I don't know
I
how
had
many
around
people were there.
probably 20 tops, but it
20
felt really
tops.
small.
It was very small because we were able to go into these sea caves.
Yeah, the boat
There's
was
some
able to
bigger
navigate right
bigger
through the
catamarans that can't do that.
Okay.
There's also a smaller option. You can go on a raft basically, but that would get a little dicey with kids, I would think.
Right.
You know, holding on. So we picked the mid option,
caves. Yeah, and
which
it
gave us
perfect.
the ability to do those wild things like be in the sea cave.
You can see caves and then snorkel, and then they give you lunch, and it's like a full day, and it was amazing. There's a real bucket list there.
I can't believe that I've never been to Hawaii. This sounds absolutely breathtaking.
It's amazing, and the good thing about Hawaii that you can do all of those activities, but the best thing in Hawaii are free. I mean, nature is free to anybody. So you know, all the beaches, all the hiking and things. So you can go and have a great time and not have to worry about spending a lot of money on any of the activities if that's what you wanted to do as well.
And there are these big, giant, lush green mountains.
Oh yes, the mountains are incredible.
Are like so surreal.
Right.
It's like, and once you look at the mountains, it's like you're in a dream.
I agree,
I
Kara.
literally joked about this being. I literally joked about it being like a lucid dream, like right?
It does, and it feels like I can understand why Jurassic Park was filmed there because it has that kind of prehistoric feel to it.
That's what I was thinking of. I was wondering if you guys ran into any velociraptors or anything.
Not this trip.
Run!
Maybe next trip.
Run!
I
Yeah.
like your imagination.
Yeah, you drive through some of the scenery, not even counting the mountains on the side. Like yesterday we were driving and it said Jurassic Valley. So some of that was where they filmed some of where the animals were roaming around.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it looks exactly like that.
Yeah, and aside from that, there's tons of wild chickens due to, I think, a hurricane that upset a chicken coop at one point, and now they proliferated. There's just millions of wild chickens.
They're
all
everywhere.
over Hawaii. And yeah, and wild pigs.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
And even though chickens are all over the place, I once heard this fact that pigs outnumber chickens.
But yeah, the pigs actually outnumber the chickens, if you wouldn't think.
I believe that.
So, Kira, what's the most memorable part of this vacation for you?
I don't really have one. Well, what makes things memorable to me is spending time with two of my favorite people.
Oh, wow, that is nice. And that's very thoughtful. Ed, what about you? What was your
I think the boat ride, because we hadn't done it when she was younger. We didn't want to risk getting sick and, you know, having to deal with that for hours on end. So doing the boat ride was probably the highlight.
Yeah. And for me, I was stand-up paddleboarding, and Ed and Kira were with me next to me on the kayak down the Honolulu River, and it was just a bucket list moment for me.
Nice.
The taro fields are right next to you, and it's just so scenic and beautiful.
Now, so the rental that you have, did they have already kayaks and paddleboards? Did you just rent them there?
Yeah, we had to go somewhere and rent those separately.
Okay.
But the condo does come with beach chairs and
stuff like that.
like toys and things. So it does come with a good amount of stuff. With
Now-
the boards.
Now, what about food? Did you guys generally eat in at the condo? Did you like get groceries, or did you go to restaurants?
We had a good mix. So we went, as soon as we got there, we got a bunch of groceries. When we were in the South Shore, I think that we went out to eat like every day. And then when we were in the North Shore, you know, we kind of just took it a little easier.
Okay. Any restaurants that stand out?
Oh,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, we went to Kauai on our honeymoon, and we ate at a place called Roy's and had this dish called butterfish.
Okay.
So it's like 24-hour marinated fish. I actually learned how to make the meal at home. It's just so good. And Roy's closed down the original location, but now they opened up a place called Eating House,
Okay.
and they have that on the menu, and all three of us got it. That was the best meal we had the entire
by
time
far,
there.
that was the best
I've
meal.
never had butterfish. What?
Yeah, it's black cod, I think.
Okay.
Butterfish is like so good. It literally is that ties with root beer.
Root beer.
All right. I've never heard that
Yeah,
comparison.
that was a standout.
We all liked it.
Just poke in general, so you know poke, right?
Right.
Yeah, that you can get pretty much even in the supermarkets. It's really good.
Okay.
But we do have a favorite place there called Hanalei Poke. It was a food truck, and then became an actual a seated restaurant now. It's actually on Diners, Drives, and that show.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
area.
yeah.
But one thing for the restaurants that we went to, you had to make reservations months in advance in some cases, because I think the island is just so overrun with tourists at this point. That
Right.
Things kind of, so if you're not on top of all of that, then you're not going to be able to go to your favorite place. That was something that we had to keep in mind.
Okay.
But we were lucky that we got reservations at all the places that we wanted to go to.
All right.
Yeah, and we got to celebrate Ed's birthday while we were there, so that was a pretty great.
So Ed's now 21 years old. He's allowed to drink. Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
did have a few Mai Tais.
Good, good, as you should. All right.
Exactly.
And so, if you had, if you were talking to somebody that had never been to this island before, what would you recommend to them? As far as just like ins and outs, or where to stay, or if you were just giving them pointers.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of, depending on how much time you have, I would try to replicate what we did. This is the first time we split our time between the North and the South Shore. But that gives you the ability to do you don't want to be driving at night. It's very dark there.
Okay.
So you can do it, but it's better to kind of split up your time between the two and do the attractions that you like that are closer to that part of the island. So that makes a lot of sense. You've got to have a rental car.
Okay.
What else?
I would definitely try to stay at somewhere that had a water view. Like
Okay.
view of the
Yeah,
ocean, because I
water
think that makes a
views.
huge difference.
Yeah, I would suggest doing the condo rental rather than the resorts, unless you need it. I mean, some of the resorts have amazing pools and probably some activities for the kids, but
Right.
on this island, if you're someone who likes to be active, you're not going to have a lot of time there.
Yeah.
You're going to want to do other things.
And also be prepared for the fact that there's not a lot of nightlife.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was good that we could use the time change to our advantage, where we just continued to wake up early, go to bed kind of early, because there's just not really a lot to do,
Okay.
which was fine by us.
At night.
Yeah, it's fine, but yeah.
Yeah.
Those days are over for me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, maybe not so much, but yes. Outstanding. All right, guys. Home run. Thank you so much for being on the channel. And if you guys like what you see, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you soon. All right, guys. Say goodbye.
Hit the subscribe button.
All right.
Bye.